कुछ बोला Namaste, Sat Sri Akal. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I don't know about you, but me, I have forgotten the first words I've ever spoken. As a matter of fact, I don't even remember what language it was in. You see, my father, he is from eastern Bhutan, the place where the sun rises, the place where everyone plants corn, and the place where they speak a dialect called Shah Chop. Meanwhile, my mother, on the other hand, she is from the central areas. Her place, I've never seen anyone farm, but I'm sure they do. But she speaks a dialect called Kenka. You see, these two people, they were never meant to meet each other in the first place. But of course, with modernization and roads, they met. And even if they met, these two completely different cultures and backgrounds, they were never meant to come together. But that's where the national language of Bhutan, Zonka, comes in. You see, Bhutan is a home to an endless amount of local dialects and languages. And these three were in my home. But me, my mind became a battlefield. Which one of them is mine? Do I speak my father's language? Shah Chop. It's witty, it's quick. Everyone feels like they're laughing, but then they're talking. Meanwhile, on the other hand, do I go with my mother's language, my mother tongue? Kenka, it's passionate. It sounds aggressive. It feels like they're arguing more than they're talking. Of course, I was a mix. I use Zonka for casual conversations. When I'm talking with my friends, when I'm talking with the teachers at school, Zonka was the way. But when I really get mad, when I want to express myself, express my emotions, I start cursing in Kenka, my mother tongue. That's not all. When I want to sing songs, when I feel a tiptoe kind of emotion, I start to sing songs in Shah Chop. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tashi Tobden, and today I'd like to take you all on a journey from the confusion at home to the fusion of languages in my head. How language can define or divide us, and the path to rediscovery. This is the language we dream in. A story of searching, rediscovery, and finally making it my own. And with that being said, let us go back to the first part of the story again. I was born in Paro, which is a completely different place, but I was raised in my mother's hometown or my mother's village, where again everyone spoke Kenka, that aggressive, that very expressive language. And being a child, you look around and the only thing you hear, everyone is speaking in the same rhythm, in the same melody. And naturally I thought, this must be the language of the world. If I understand this, I'll understand everything. I was so wrong. And how wrong I was, I only knew when I visited my father's place for the first time. My father, again, he is from the east, and hence it took me a while to reach there. But when I did, I was mesmerized. Everyone seems like they're laughing a little bit louder. Everyone seems like they understand something that I don't. It's like a melody that I'm familiar, but I just don't know the tune. I still remember one incident. My father's younger sister, she cannot speak any other language except for that local dialect only. She came to me and then she asked something. She was expecting an easy answer. I remember staring blankly, completely frozen. We stood there staring at each other for quite some time, and then my father came in and stepped in and said, "He doesn't speak our language, he doesn't know." Of course, she started laughing, but not at me. She laughed at the strangeness of how a father's son could not speak his own local dialect. And it sparked something in me. I did not feel shame. I felt curious. I wanted to know more. And then I realized every language, every dialect that I come across, it has an emotional space. It means something to me. Khenka, my mother's tongue, it is a language, it is a dialect of home, of comfort, of every childhood memory of rice wine and wood smoke. Whereas Shah Chop, it was a language of curiosity. I knew I could learn more every single time I talked. Zonka was for casualty, of course. I understood Zonka because everyone at school spoke. But again, one more to fill the puzzle. The language that I'm speaking to you all right now, the bridge between us, English. You see, the thing about English is, it came as as an uninvited guest to school. It was strict. It was intimidating. Teacher was speaking one thing, I was lost in my own world, gone. I did not understand anything. But then, later down the line, it became the language of opportunity. It became the language of expression for someone like me. I never knew it would happen. The thing is, as I grew older, English became a more significant part of the journey. I wanted to speak in English as much as I can. When I wanted to sound sincere, English. When I wanted to sound smart, English. I soon started to feel in English as well. I used to talk to my mother in English casually, But at the end of the day, it became very crucial. Why? Because I could narrate to the world the stories that I know in English. From the 2 books I've written, to every single presentation that I gave, to every public speech that I've given, including today, it's English. But that gives us another question. When every single direction is pointing towards English, a language that felt so foreign, but now is taken a large chunk of your heart, where does the other language go? Where does the other dialect go? Where does the part of you that grew up in the rural areas, where did they go? You see, the interesting thing about language, as a science, as a multilinguistics, it's as a science, the interesting thing about language is every time you speak a different language, a different part of your brain activates. Hence, it feels like you're shifting to a different gear. You might have noticed it yourself, ladies and gentlemen. You see some of your friends, they're always talking in aggressive tone. Always feels like they're going to beat you anytime. But then they're talking to their mother, to their family in a different language, and then they're like, very melodious, very calm. You don't see that part of them when they're speaking the casual language. But that's not pretending. That's basically code switching inside your brain. And the thing is, language is not limited to code switching only. It's not only related to that. Language, it comes from emotions. It comes from memory. When you think of a particular language, let's say the one that you grew up with, for example, for me, if I think about Khenka, the only thing that comes to my mind, again, is childhood memories. When I grew up with my mother, in the embrace of my mother and the guidance of my father. And that is the beauty of language. Of course, I also had to draw conclusions, right? I'm still confused. Which of the language am I supposed to go for? Which one of it is mine? Everything changed in one single dream. I don't remember when I had it, but I still remember it very vividly. I dreamt in a language I never expected, and that was my father's. It was a the setting was very simple. Back to his village, the old, the dry, it was completely barren. But then everybody was calling me. Everybody was calling my name. Everybody was, laughing. And they asked something in his language. I replied in his. And I woke up immediately. Of course, I was shocked. How did I speak that language? I don't even know what I said. But then again, I realized that I wasn't just translating in my head. It came from emotion. And then I came to a conclusion that, okay, everything could be mine. Everything could be a part of me. And the realization, it hit. And now I'm at peace. Okay, every single one of the languages, it's a part of me. It's my identity. But is that all? Nope, life decided to throw a little bit more. Now the newer chapters, I'll tell you another short story. I was broken after the 12th grade, or after the announcement of the 12th grade marks, examination marks. The thing is, I took both biology and mathematics, both medicine and arithmetics, hoping I'll keep my options open. If one fails, I'll go to another. Of course, the moment I saw the results, I was shocked. I could not utter anything. You see, for the ND requirements, National Defense Academy, the mathematics requirements, I failed by 3 marks. It was not sufficient by 3 marks. But that's okay, I have biology. Now I still got this. Checked my biology marks. I did not get for MBBS by 3 marks again in biology. I could not do anything, I could not say anything. The first thing I did, I texted a very long message to my mother saying, "Mom, I failed you. I failed everything. Now there's nothing left to do." It was in English. My mother called me afterwards worried. The language you spoke in, Khenka. She was advising me, no, like this is this is that. It's okay, you still have a path. And then ultimately I told my friends as well. I was very depressed. I needed my friends, and we were conversing in Zonka. And then we went to a karaoke, and I sang in Shah Chop. So all these languages, it came together. I was back on my feet, and luckily, as fates would decide once again, one slot came up for radiology. It said the place, India, but I had to sit through an interview. I was ranked 10th from the results, but I had to make sure I get into the top 3 so that I could at least get the early choice and make sure that I get radiology. Interview results came in. Again, the interview was a mix of English and Zonka. I had to say both of them. And thank God, I got 3rd place. And then I ended up here in India with all of you beautiful people and with this beautiful environment. But of course, more surprises for Tashi Tobden and his journey in linguistics. You all are speaking Hindi, Punjabi, all sorts of different languages. I spent the first semester learning Hindi more than learning the lessons taught in classes. अब थोड़ी बहुत तो आती है हिंदी, अभी भी सीख रहा हूँ. But yes, now I am at peace. I approached Hindi in a totally different way. I was shocked myself. Hindi, before I would have been, Hindi, I'm never going to learn, I can't do this. But now, because of the previous experiences, I approached Hindi with light. I wanted to make sure that I knew that language, that I could speak, maybe not right because it's too complicated, but then at least if I could speak fluently, it would be enough. And not only that, one time I was a little bit sad. I don't remember. I was feeling melancholic, and then I was just sitting in the office, of Kautak sir, very amazing mentor that I have. And then he said, "Tashi, what are you doing? Why are you sad? Be in Chardikala." I said, "Sir, what is Chardikala?" It means to be in high spirits. Okay, add another word in my dictionary right now. Now I've understood what it means. So this is how I approach languages. This is how I approach life right now. And of course, my topic is if you look at my topic, it's only limited to languages. But as you can see, as you look into my story, it's not only about language, it's about identity, how you navigate through life. And I hope you got something from what I'm trying to say to you all. And ladies and gentlemen, don't be sad. Don't be worried that life has dragged you down as you get confused. Don't feel sad that you are not able to see who you are because you have so many things to deal with. If you have a new language, get them in together. Learn, because it's not about what they will take from you. It's about what it will add on your life. And again, don't be sad. Be in Chardikala. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me.